Okay, let's start in cat-cow. So let's come into a 4-point position, making sure that the shoulders are over the knees and the hips are, shoulders are over the hands and hips over knees. And start to articulate from the spine, so from the tailbone upwards, rolling the shoulders back as you pull the heart forward, take the shoulders down away from the ears and then look up so that you get a nice stretch in the front of the chin. And then again, start from the tailbone to curve. And as you get to the sternum, hold there for a second and really push up into the sternum. Keep the shoulders down away from the ears though, so that they're not rolling forward too much. And then release again. And then you can start to close your eyes here and communicate with the spine and start to feel any areas that are particularly tight. Maybe hold there and breathe, maybe rock backwards and forwards. Just get some movement because it's likely the first movement of the day. So the idea is to warm up, but also get a sensation of what's going on in your body. If you slept funny, this is where you'll figure it out. Maybe do some snaky spines, leading with the head and going side to side to just get the intercostals nice and warm. And then come back to a neutral spine, extend the crown of the head forward and the tailbone back, and just ensure that you've got that rib to hip connection, maybe even touch. And then we're going to extend the right leg out, straight back behind you, no higher than the hip. Make sure the back doesn't dip down, so tuck the tailbone under slightly if you need to, and then extend the opposite hand away. So opposite hand and leg, and then curl under to bring the knee to the elbow. And extend. And when you extend, really stretch the foot and the hand apart. When you curl under, really compress through the core. So extend, core engages, curl under, core compresses. Extend, curl under. I'm just going to mute anyone who isn't muted. Oh no, I can't. Jeff, can you mute yourself, please?
Yes.
Anyone who's muted, because I'm not on the Achieve account, I'm on my own account. I stuffed up. So let's change arm and leg. So come down from whichever one you were on, extend the other leg back behind you. Again, check that the core is engaged and extend the opposite hand. Squeeze elbow to knee, lengthen and squeeze. This is just a warm up, so don't be too worried about doing the same reps on each side. We'll get plenty of reps in on both sides. Maybe 3 more. And then release, come back down to all fours, neutral spine. Again, a couple of cat-cows if you need it after that. And then we're just going to come into a short 15-second beast hold. So on all fours, tuck the toes under and lift the knees up just an inch. So they're just floating above the ground. Ensure that the crown of the head is lengthening, tailbone leading back, and you've got that rib to hip connection. Reach up and touch if you can, and make sure the ribs aren't flaring out. Keep lifting through the pelvic floor and then drawing the belly in towards the spine. And when I say draw the belly in towards the spine, it's like wrapping around in that transverse abdominis and in the belly button. So if you can imagine like a heavyweight champion of the world belt coming around and clicking into your belly button, that's your transverse abdomen. Push down into the hands so that the shoulders are down away from the ears and protracted forward. And let's release. Come back to child's pose if you need to. Out. And then we're going to come back up into it again. Ready? Hold, so tuck under and hover. Again, do the body scan. So start from the crown of the head, lengthen the tailbone back. Then check that the ribs aren't flared. Lift through the pelvic floor, lock on your belt, drawing in towards the spine, and then take the shoulders down away from the ears, almost like you're trying to hold a towel underneath your arms. So you get action. Rebecca, could I ask you to mute, please? Thank you. And then as you squeeze the elbows, the shoulders down, so that you almost like you're trying to hold a towel under your armpits, then you feel that again that you can lengthen the crown of the head, lengthen the tailbone, go back to the pelvic floor, drawing through the belly, shoulders down, protract, push the hands into the floor. Let's take one more breath in, and then exhale, release. Have a couple of little cat-cows, maybe do some wrist pumps here. There's a lot that we're doing on all fours. So wrist pumps come up onto the first finger knuckles. So the actual, as in the first set of knuckles there. So the whole finger stays on the ground. And it's like you've got a lemon underneath your hand. So you're really pushing down to squish the lemon. Maybe 10 quick pumps with the fingers facing forward. And then 10 quick pumps with the fingers facing away from each other. And then fingers facing towards you. We've got one more beast hold. You can hold on the knuckles if you want to. So pushing up into the ground, if that helps a little bit, and hover the knees. And again, start with the body scan. Lengthen the whole spine, crown of the head, tailbone. Lift pelvic floor. Draw in through the belly button. Shoulders down. Hold the towel under your armpits. Push down into the hands to protract the shoulders forward. If it's too easy for you and what you want to give a little test to your balance, you can try the bird dog here that we just did, extending arm and leg away, elbow to knee. Maybe just do one either side just to see if you can. It's hard. Then hold for another couple of seconds. Again, take that body scan and release. Have a little cat-cow, shake it out, and then get ready on all fours again to move through some of our glute movements. So right leg is going to extend straight back behind you so that the top of the toe is on the ground. Again, lengthen, get that core engaged, and then squeeze the glute first to lift the leg. And we're just lifting it from the floor, tapping the top of the toe down and lifting to the top, no higher than the hip. Just going to put a timer on for the hour so that we've got about 30 seconds each side. And we're starting the timer now. So just gentle tap down, touch and lift. So it may not even come as high as the hip. It may just be a tiny little pulsation. Small movements are still important because they start to get muscles that may be underactive rather than compensating with muscles that we use all the time. Keep the neck long, so keep the head lifted. Try not to let the head sag down. And 30 seconds. Change legs. Other leg extends, lock the core in and lift. Every time I say lock the core in, it's that lift of the pelvic floor. If you're unsure about what that means, it's like you're trying to stop yourself from peeing. So next time you go to the toilet, pee, stop, pee, stop. Just have a go of doing that. We've got 10 seconds left on this leg. Then let's go back to the first leg. Take the knee up so that it's in line with the hip, straight back behind you, and then squeeze to lift the knee a little bit higher than the hip. Here especially, keep the core locked in so that you're not dipping through the spine. Keep the neck long. Tiny little pulsations to lift the knee up even higher. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And you should be able to feel, switch legs, you should be able to feel that once you get up there, if just by thinking squeeze with the glute, the leg just kind of moves. Keep it going, another few seconds with this left side. 10 seconds left. Try and keep the foot flexed if you can. That just activates the hamstring. And then come back to all fours. We're going to come into a plank. So you can come onto knuckle plank if you need to. Crown of the head long. And then you're touching opposite shoulder. So you can take the feet a little bit wider to do this to make sure that your hips don't sway. So just gentle, sorry, not gentle, slow movements. Slow and controlled. Tapping your opposite shoulder. If you need to come down onto your knees, you are a straight line from the knees to the crown of the head. Otherwise, you're in full plank, keeping the hips stable. Nice, guys. Halfway there. After this, we're going straight into push-ups. 10 seconds left. So push-up options, either on your knees or full push-ups or down dog push-ups, which I'm totally okay with. When you're taking your elbows wide, tapping the top of the head to the ground. Otherwise, you're in a full push-up, making sure that the hands are set up just at the chest. Elbows go back at a 45-degree angle and you're touching your chest to the ground and then straight back up. So if you can't do a full push-up, then your eccentric push-up, so slow all the way down, then push back to child's pose. Set up again, slow down. Child's pose and set up. Or those down dog push-ups are really good for training handstands and handstand push-ups. We got 30 more seconds of push-ups. Oh no, we don't, we got 10. And release into child pose for a couple of breaths. Next minute, we've got froggy to plank. So from child's pose, hover the knees up so that you've got this really nice kind of bouncy feeling in the legs. And then you're going to push forward, land in plank, lock out. Back to froggy. Come forward, plank, lock out. Froggy, plank, lock out. So when you get to the lockout, really feel the shoulders lock down away from the ears, and you're really holding that armpit underneath, holding the towel under the armpit. So it's that action, that torque action with the hands. Bounce down low, land in the plank. So it's quite a powerful catch to the plank. 10 seconds left. And then release. Have a little shake if you need to. And then we're coming into knee to armpits. So you can do this from all fours, in which case you're just taking the knee up to the side and trying to touch kind of more like the tricep. Or you're doing it from a plank, taking the knee to the tricep, alternating. It's actually a little bit easier from a plank to get the range. So you're tapping to the outside of the upper arm as hard as you possibly can. Again, you can come onto knuckles, or if your wrists are sore, these kinds of things are really good to do up on a sofa or the back of a chair. It just gives a little bit of a relief to the hands so that they're not in that 90-degree, the wrists aren't in that 90-degree angle. Also, you can come up onto fists and do this from knuckles. Keep going, another 30 seconds left of this. If you want to make it a little bit harder, tap, hold, then release. So slower is harder. So tap the elbow to the knee, knee to the tricep, to the armpit, hold, release. Tap, hold, and back, plank. Tap, hold, and plank. Tap, hold, and plank. And release. Come back into your child's pose just for a couple of breaths. And then we're going to do that whole series one more time. Actually, no, we're not. It's 8:15. Let's move on. I changed my mind. So come onto your side plank, so onto the elbow. Come up onto either bottom knee down or both feet on the ground, one in front of the other. So I've got my right foot in front, inside edge of my right foot is on the ground. Then you're going to hold the left hand with the right hand. Push it down, lift up into side plank. Drop down onto the elbow. Lift up onto the hand and down onto the elbow. We're just doing these on this side for 30 seconds and then we'll change. Push up and onto the elbow. Push to the hand, then down onto the elbow. Can you see that, what I'm doing there, guys? So up onto the hand, down onto the elbow. Change sides. You can flip around or face the other way. So start in your side plank on the elbow. Push your left hand down onto the right hand. Push up onto the hand, down onto the elbow. Up onto the hand, down onto the elbow. These ones are kind of hard, aren't they? Keep it going. A few more left on this side. And last one. And release. Then we're going to come into gate pose. So up onto the hand and the lower knee. Extend the right, so let's put the left hand on the ground, left knee on the ground. That left foot can flip back behind you, parallel to the short edge of the mat. Extend the right leg straight away from you, and the right hand extends. Squeeze elbow to knee. And rather than squeezing them in front of you, squeeze them above you, so that it's a side crunch. Keep that leg extended, don't drop it towards the ground, keep pointing to the toe, pointing through the toe, to keep the leg light. If it's floppy, it will be heavy. Inhale as you extend, exhale as you crunch. That will help you with compressing into the lower belly. Let's do 5 more on this side. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew, release. Change to the other side. So you can simply roll over. You don't need to face the camera if you don't need to, if you know what you're doing. Extend, hand and the foot away, and side crunch. Elbow to knee. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to crunch. And you'll notice that it's still strong on the standing leg. That standing leg really has to stabilize you. Extend and crunch. Extend, compress. Let's do 5 more. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Squeeze and extend. Come back down onto all 4s. Ooh, wiggle the hips if you need to. It's big on the glutes, that one. Then we're going to come down onto the elbow plank again. I should have sequenced this a little bit better. And then taking the hips down over to the left, tapping them down onto the ground. Come back through plank. Over to the right, tap the hips down, back to the center. Try and keep a perfect plank even as you go side to side. And what I mean by that is try and keep that straight line from the crown of the head to the heels, even as you come up and over and dip, so that you're not lifting the hips back up. Try and stay nice and strong and locked in. Again, think pelvic floor, lock your belt in. We've got another 10 here. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lay down. Come to your side. Have a little chill for a couple of seconds. And then we're going to take the top hand, so mine's my right hand, on top of the right thigh. That left arm can either reach up or you can support the head if that's better for you. We're going to squeeze into the oblique and reach the right hand towards the feet as you lift up the legs and crunch into the side and then back down. So wherever that bottom hand needs to be, try and think squeeze in the oblique first before you do the movement so that you're not pushing into the hand. It's more there for stability, to be honest. Alternatively, if you find you're rocking backwards and forwards, which is really easy when you're on that bottom hip, you can take that top hand and just rest it, fingertips on the ground. So we're bananaing our bodies up. It's a very awkward position, this banana position. Have you got ankle weights on, Dylan?
No, that's just a shadow. But I wish I had ankle weights on.
That's impressive. Okay, let's do 3 more. 2, and last one. Hold for a couple of seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Roll straight over to, actually no, stay on that side. We'll do the other side next. So take that top leg, the right leg, and just bring it over so that it's in kind of standing, so leg bent, and the foot is in front of the left leg. And then you're just, again, supporting that hand, supporting the head, or letting the arm rest long. And we're squeezing in the adductor of that bottom leg to lift that leg up. So think squeeze adductor before you move. And you can even put the finger there just on the inside of that thigh and feel that adductor working to lift up the leg. This one is a good one with ankle weights too, but because it's such a small muscle, well, not small muscle, but an underused muscle, difficult to train, you should be able to feel a little bit of a burn already. So think squeeze adductor. And if you just visualize this strip of muscle running down the inside of the thigh, and close your eyes a little bit even, and start to really think of that muscle firing, it should feel a little bit stronger. Is anyone not burning? Okay, let's do 5 more. 4, 3. See if you can hold at the top for a second. And last one, and release. Now we'll turn around to the other side, starting with our little bananas. So again, support the head in whichever way you did on the first side. Top hand can rest along the thighs, or it can be fingertips on the ground. And we're squeezing to lift up. Reaching the hand towards the feet. This is awkward little, I find these ones awkward. An awkward little side crunch. I actually never use them because I dislike them so much, which is kind of why I programmed them in. For working with INX, I figure we all need nice strong obliques. But then I ended up dreaming about them. That's how unusual it is for me to have programmed it, that I had a dream about someone doing this and telling me that it was a really good exercise. Yeah, I dream about Pilates. That's how obsessed my life is right now. Let's do 5 more. 4, 3, 2, and we're going to hold on this last one. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release. Bring that top leg in front. Support the head if you need to, and squeezing in the adductor. Keep the foot either pointed or flexed or pointed, which is kind of the demi point, just so that the foot is active. It will keep the leg nice and tight and light. Floppy legs are heavy legs. And really close the eyes here and just think adductor. And you'll note, like when I do it, I feel like my leg really springs up when I'm like concentrating on the muscle so much and using just that muscle to lift up. It really feels like it kind of boings my leg into the air. So let's do another 10 here. See if you can add a pause at the top and release. Pause, maybe like 1 second pause at the top. I don't know how many that is, probably 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one, and release. Ooh, where are we going next? Okay, let's come back into this, yeah, let's come up to standing actually, with all the stuff. We're gonna do a second round of some of the stuff that we're doing on our backs. So coming up to standing, we're gonna come through a little flow for balancing. Garbage truck is loud. So your flow is gonna be 2 aeroplane pose. So use the glutes to take the right leg straight back behind you. Make sure both hips are even towards the ground. Roll the shoulders back, heart goes forward. Extend through the back leg. Then you're gonna squeeze into the core, lock the core. Bring up the leg, down and forward. And this time you're really using the hip flexor to lift the toe up, presenting the adductor, so presenting the heel to the sky. So you're externally rotated. Lift up a little bit higher. Try and get that foot in line with the hip. Lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up. Then take it out to the side. Show me the heel. So making sure that it's externally rotated, heel is facing towards me, and then lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up, back to the center, and then down, other side. So you've got aeroplane, roll the shoulders back, heart opens, left hip rolls down, extend through the toes. Once you've got your balance here, ground down into the right foot, sweep that left leg underneath you, present the heel to the sky. Lift, 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 lift. Then take the left leg out to the left. Lift, higher than it should be. The aim is to get it as high as the hip. You can use the hand to support it. Lift, 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 lift. Come back to the center and then down. We're going to do 2 more rounds like that on each side. So in your own time, try and think in your mind, lift at least 5 times. So extend and open. Come forward. Keep the crown of the head lengthening up to the ceiling to keep the spine nice and long. You don't want to collapse forward as you lift the leg. Lift, 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 lift. Take it to the side. And again, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. Back to the front. And release. If I'm going too quick and it's too easy, slow it down for yourself. Other side. Left side lengthens. Find your balance first. And when you get here, you'll probably notice the neck is a little bit cranked. I always do that with mine. So I have to really actively roll the shoulders back and lengthen through the heart so that I get a nice opening, so that when I stand up, I'm nice and tall. And then it's a lot easier for me to breathe while I'm bringing my leg up in my 5 little leg lifts. Out to the side. Keep lifting, 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 lifting. Back to the front and release. Last round in your own time. Expand. Squeeze the glutes a lot to lift that leg behind you. Then you'll have to bring the foot flexed to come forward. Present the heel. Take it out to the side. Lift up a little bit higher. Come back to the center and release. Left side, last one. Expand, lengthen, squeeze the back glutes. Come back through the center and extend forward. Lift, 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 and then out to the side. Last one, come back to the center and then back down. That was really good. My dog got in the way, so I had to lift my leg even higher just to clear him and make sure I didn't kick him. Good dog. I mean, totally thwarting my practice. Let's come down and lay down on your backs. Actually, let's come down through plank and do a quick, another round of elbow hip dips. So come into the elbow plank and then touching that hip down to the side for one more round of 20. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Roll onto your backs. Lie down, have a little rest. Joking. There's no rest. Come up straight up into a bridge. Just angle you down so that you can see me. So straight up into your bridge, make sure that you can just touch the heels with the fingertips. Imprint the spine so that you can feel the lower back pressing against the ground. Rib to hip connection, slowly come up, squeeze into the glutes, and then dip back down, squeeze. So really the pause is at the top, and it's just a tap to the floor, squeeze. Tap, squeeze, pause. Tap, squeeze, pause. tap, squeeze, pause. And so this is not a yoga bridge. We want to make sure that we're a straight line from the shoulders to the knees. So don't arch up too much. Keep that rib to hip connection. Tap down and squeeze. Tap down and squeeze. You can do these a lot slower if you want to articulate the spine down and articulate back up, but we're really trying to get the glutes firing here. This will help us with opening up the hip flexors, giving them a little bit of a stretch before we start working them really strongly. It's an active release of the hip flexors by engaging the glutes. So when we stretch a muscle, it can get weak, but when we open it up, then we get a little bit more range of motion, warming it up and activating it. Okay, let's do another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release back down. Oh, that burned a little bit. It's good. Okay, keep the left leg bent, right leg extended. And you're just drawing tiny little circles with the right big toe. Keep the leg externally rotated a little bit, just so that you've got the heel kind of angling inwards. And then change directions. I've got the couch in my way, so I may need to move. But we're going to start to make the circles a little bit bigger. Still see me? Need more space for legs to be moving around here. Okay. So start to make the circles a little bit bigger and then change directions in these bigger circles. So they're probably half your maximum capacity, right? You're probably drawing like a tire. That's probably the size of circle that you're drawing. Now bring it back to a dish circle, so much smaller. And again, change directions. Slowly go out bigger, make it a tire again. So like a car tire, so quite big. And then let's go to maximum. So all the way down to the widest edge, go really slow, back up again. Bring the foot down towards the ground, keep the lower back imprinted against the spine, and then bring the toes close up towards your face as you can, out wide and down. Let's change directions, keep pointing through the toe, keep the leg externally rotated as you come around, squeeze through the adductor as you lift the leg back up. And then you should really feel that lower back pressing into the ground the whole time. But if you don't, stop, put the foot back on the ground, reset, make sure you've got that rib to hip connection, lifting up through the pelvic floor. Let's finish one more big circle and then release that right leg back down, come straight into the left side, tiny little circles. So these are like the size of a, I don't know, like a small, like a teacup. And then they start getting a little bit bigger to this plate, to the size of a plate. Change directions. And you probably find one direction feels really awkward and one direction feels nice. For me, when I'm going outwards, out like for either leg, when they're going away from the center, like up towards my face first, that feels more comfortable. So we just keep changing it every now and then. So start making the circles wider, the size of a tire. Try and keep the right leg stable, the leg that's bent. Change directions if you haven't already. And then we're going to draw the spiral down until it's close again. So it's small, coming back to your dish shape. Change directions. Then once we get as wide as the tire, do a few more. So big wide circles. I can just see, it's funny when the angles of the camera changes and all I can see is someone's foot just waving around. And make them really big. So as wide as you possibly can, down towards the ground, as wide as you can, while still keeping the lower back imprinted against the ground and still keeping that rib tip connection and that strong core. Change directions. My hip really clicks when I do these ones, particularly on this left side. So if I feel that clicking, it usually means that the iliacus isn't switching on. So then I try and extend the leg even more and really think about the adductor and the inner thigh, because that's usually where the instability is rather than outside in the glute. They're easy to work. Change directions. And the more I point through the toe, the more I'm asking those tiny muscles to work and function, because it's forcing my leg to rotate from right up in the hip rather than using the big thigh muscles. The rotation is happening from all of those muscles that are trying to click. Okay, last one. And release back down. Oh, these ones are strong. Okay, next we're coming up into a tabletop. So your tabletop is either fingertips facing towards you, pushing up so that the hips are nice and flat so that you're a straight line from the shoulders to the knees. Alternatively, you can do this one on the back of a sofa to save the wrists, in which case you're just resting the elbows and the back onto the back of a sofa or a chair. Then you're going to extend the leg out to straight. Excuse me, can you look out of the way? So right leg is going to extend straight. Then you're going to squeeze and come into a straddle. I don't know if you can see that. So right leg extends and then straddle, back to extension and down. Left leg, extend, straddle, extend, forward and down. So forward to the side, forward and down. Keep the hips elevated. Lengthen, lift, lengthen and down. Lengthen, lift, lengthen, down. I regret closing that door now, it's so hot in here. And squeeze and down and push the hips up. Reset the hips in between every rep if you need to. Let's do another 10.